they're tricky, and like low bid does not always lend itself to the best ag lease, but we're bound, in this case high bid, we're bound to our procurement laws, we're bound to what we have to do in order to get this properly administered to the best interest of the county. So when you look at, in the great scheme of things, it's not that much acreage. It's broken up in a bunch of pieces because it doesn't even include the leases which had not expired. So, and it also actually includes the last two are the properties you just purchased, which are in a year-over-year because Mr. Lawson did not give us the clear for a 5-year lease because you have not made a decision of what you want to use it for. So in Mr. Councilman Riley's words, come on, Hans, here, I want to have, fill in the blank, Councilman, I want to have X there, and I don't want you to tie it up in a 5-year lease.
Public access.
So these two had very limited interest. I mean, we had to make calls to get people to give us a number on it because farmers don't like a year-over-year lease.
Yeah, I know, they don't like either one of them.
They don't like either one of them, right? There's a double whammy.
Right.
So when you look at this, so most of them are 5-year leases where we have no plans. And some of them are year-over-year leases because you may have plans. So we made a big effort. We sent a lot of advertisements out. We know a lot of farmers. We have a long list. We also publicly advertised. We reached out to all of our current leaseholders. I probably made at least half a dozen calls to people who I really wanted to bid on certain ones because I figured nobody else would bid on them. And so in the end, we did get a number of lease proposals back. So one of them was a complete surprise. Entity never spoke to us. We did not reach out to from Maryland. So it came in, and I called the farmer. His wife is running the business side. And I said, we talked about the accessibility. We talked about the distance. We talked about a few things. And that was in the afternoon. And she said, let me get right back with you. Within an hour, she called me back and said, how can we get out of this? And I said, it is not in the county's best interest for you to fail. And so they officially withdrew their bid. So that's why you see it's still shown. You see the number, you see why, and you see the official email exchange which precipitated the withdrawal. Again, I believe, and Mr. Lawson and I discussed it, it's not in the county's best interest to have a leaseholder that entity which fails. So, because we don't want to touch it again next year. So there's another caveat which has to do with our cover crop requirements and what we had in some leases which we don't have in old ones, but this one had it in it. The new ones have it in it as well, cover crop requirement. And so the one gentleman who farmed at one farm in Piney Neck said, hey, you're making me put the cover crop in. I'm in the program. How can I get my money back? And because it only gets returned upon harvesting and or destruction. And you probably know that. If I'm not successful, how do I get my money back? And so I contacted the entity, yes, confirmed everything, and I sent him a response back and said the county would want you to have a cover crop per the lease, and we would make you, the entity, whole in case you're not the successful bidder. And I would ask you to honor the county engineer's word. Otherwise, I'm prepared to do so.
A motion?
So we do have, yes, I do have a motion.
Mrs. Green.
So I don't understand what bay grow utilization is. That's new? So just a real quick,
No,
what
the
that means.
bay grower utilization is our Class A product,
Okay.
which is a permitted product under the DNRC rules. It's not it has a Department of Agriculture label, but not a Department of Agriculture permit. So we have a state permit from DNRC. It's an unlimited distribution which you can use on your land, and the only thing you can grow is direct human consumption crops, which strawberries is. prime example. So our business model is the truck is full if we have an order from an entity to deliver. Today we do that, but we do not get paid. So today we deliver, and sometimes we spread at no charge. In the future, we'd like to have customers who pay. So, because if that truck is full, it needs to go to one of two places, a paying farm or the landfill, one or the other. We have had issues with storage. We don't have a storage permit. Mr. Lawson, please help me out. It has to leave the site, right? So every day there's a decision. When the facility runs, decision has to be made. Is it going to the Schaefer farm and we're getting paid, or it's going to the landfill and we're paying? So we advertised it either for pickup or delivered. People like to have, the only two bids we got is delivered. Okay? We have the trucks, it's going anyway. So now the truck's full tomorrow. Once you award the bid and it's going to Farm A, we will get a check for X tons times whatever the bid amount is. We will bill them monthly.
So that's the second part of the
Of the award.
page. It was the award. So
Yes.
that's them paying us.
It's them paying us.
Them paying us.
Right now they're paying nothing.
Yeah, it looks good. Okay.
So
And is that a 5-year lease as well?
that is a 5-year arrangement. Yes.
Okay.
If you reduce the price that you're charging for that,
We're not zero.
so
So you put it out on
we're
bids.
getting a check for it.
In the future.
Okay. Just wonder if you could entice more farmers to take advantage of it.
I think the success will support more demand.
It's just a shame to haul it to the landfill and pay to have it dumped, if you can help it.
Right.
So-
So you can grow this as you get, like say you have a bigger need, we can add it.
The need is there in the spring especially and somewhat in the fall.
Okay.
In order for us to meet the demand, we would have to store it, we have to get a storage permit, and we would have to double and triple handle it.
Oh, yeah, no, you don't want to do that.
True.
So we have established a break-even number, and delivery at zero is not a break-even number.
Well, I mean, versus hauling it to the dump and paying.
No, I mean like delivery year-round at zero. Because that means we have to triple handle it and store it.
Right.
So what you proposed here, that is what you look at what your needs are for right now.
For the next 5 years, that's the business model which works. After 5 years, if we have demand far outstripping our supply, and the county administrator makes an executive decision to store, permit, distribute the product at a set price, and we have customers at that set price where we break even, then that is a future decision. But for the next 5 years, we will make a decision every day. Do we have a customer ready to receive or not?
So this is actually just hauling it. This isn't, it isn't necessarily going to those exact locations.
Yes.
It is going to those locations. It's going
No,
right-
not the locations where the farms are.
Oh, okay.
No.
So this is just a haul, we have now contracted a hauler.
We are going to the two bidders that have numerous farms in the Selbyville area, greater Selbyville area,
Yep.
and we will deliver and dump and leave. Then the next day, we will come again.
Spring and fall.
But if they do not accept the material on the day we need to get rid of it, it's going to hard scrap.
And then they stockpile it there, I guess.
No,
No?
they throw it in the dump.
Go to the dump.
No. The farmer.
The farmer has,
They'd have to be permitted also.
they have a window where it's allowed to be stockpiled, field stockpiled, which is in, when you read through the specs, it spells it out. Conditions are set.
Right.
Any more questions? Have a motion, please.
Be moved based upon the recommendation of the Sussex County Engineering Department that the Sussex County Council approve the award of bids for the agricultural farmland lease agreements and the bake or delivery to the highest bidders as listed in the award summary sheet.
Pleasure of council.
Move for adoption.
Motion, Mr. Riley.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Hudson. Any questions on the motion? We'll take the vote. Mr. Schaefer.
Yes.
Mrs. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Riley.
Yes.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
I will yes. Motion carried. Next, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next one up is the pumper truck. We have a 20-year-old plus pumper truck. That's the same as a septic truck. In addition to our vac trucks,